27th, Saint Maximus, Bishop. Saint Maximus, from his youth as the son of a noble Christian family, manifested a firm attraction to virtue. His austerities, undertaken to conserve his virtue at all costs, were so constant and determined that it seemed he merited the crown of martyrdom even without a tyrant to persecute him. He was a disciple of Saint Honoratus, abbot of the famous monastery on the Iron of Lerins, and in the year 426 he succeeded in that office his master, who had been chosen Bishop of Arles. For 7 years Saint Maximus governed his monastery, and under his guidance solid piety and penance flourished, as well as excellent studies, which he established and directed himself. The demon, irritated under various disguises, persecuted him without rest, but the holy abbot put him to flight by the sign of the cross. Saint Maximus was remarkable not only for his spirit of recollection, fervor, and piety familiar to him from childhood, but still more for the gentleness and kindness which he governed the fervent monks of his monastery. At that time, the monastery contained a very large number. Exhibiting in his own person an example of the most sterling virtues, his exhortations could not fail to prove all persuasive. Loving all his religious, whom it was his delight to consider as composing one single family, he established among them the sweet concord, union, and holy emulation in virtue, which render the exercise of authority virtually unnecessary, and make holy submission a pleasure. The clergy and people of nearby cities, moved by such a shining example, elected Maximus for their bishop, but he refused this dignity verbally on the first occasion, and on the second took flight in a boat and then into a forest, where he prayed for 3 days and nights that the Lord would change the dispositions of the people. The people's emissaries did not succeed in finding him, and proceeded to another election. He fled yet again after St. Hilary approved his election as bishop to the city of Riez in the French Alps. This time he was found and compelled to accept the see of Riez as his native diocese. When one day a church was to be built on a hilltop and it was necessary to transport heavy columns to the elevated site, the oxen refused to move. The bishop was absent that day, although he had often come to encourage all concerned. The people attached 2 more animals to the yoke, but still none of them moved. The bishop was advised, and when he arrived, told them he saw a demon standing before the oxen to prevent their advance. He put the enemy to flight once more with the sign of the cross, and himself detached the 2 animals who had been requisitioned, and the first 2, with his blessing, had no difficulty in arriving at the hilltop. In the See of Riez, Saint Maximus practiced virtue in all its gentleness, until he died in the year 460, regretted as the best of fathers.